welcome back to another great show, Life Experiences with William Pelarenos. Today he's got a great guest in here. It's the Illinois State Representative of the 50th District, and we have Barbara Hernandez. Barbara will be discussing the new e-bike laws that are going to take effect in Illinois on January 1st of 2027. I'm sure you're going to want to call in on this. There's a lot of hot topics here. So you can call us at 847-931-1410, 847-931-1410. If you want to text in, you're a little on the bashful side, you can text us at 505-926-1410. And yes, we are on YouTube right now, and that's youtube.com. It's got a / at WRMN Radio. You know, Bill, the best way to reach Bill is you can go to Facebook. It's Pelarenos, Pelarenos, Police Project. You search that, you're going to search the best site you ever saw. So, moving on, I'm going to let Bill take it from here, and he's going to introduce our guest properly.
Thank you, Dino. I really want to thank Barbara Hernandez for taking time out from her busy schedule to come down to the show with us. And the main focus today, we're going to talk about this e-bike legislation that's set to be signed by Governor Pritzker, and it should take effect January 1st, 2027, if everything goes as planned, correct?
Correct.
So, Barbara, for people that don't know you, tell us a little bit about your background before you talk about the e-bike laws.
Of course. Well, first of all, Bill, thank you so much for having me in the show. It's a great pleasure to be able to educate people on the bills that we're doing. And I guess my background, I'm from Aurora, born and raised. I'm from the east side specifically. If you're in Aurora, it's usually the next question is what side? So east side or west side? I'm a proud east sider. And I've been in the position for the last 7 years as a state representative. Before that, I used to work for a state representative, and I was there for about 8 years before she retired from the General Assembly and moved on to the Director of Veterans Affairs back in 2019. So I've had a lot of years under my belt when it comes to how to run the district office, how to do constituent work, and other items. So I'm just very grateful for the opportunity that I've had to be able to represent the hometown that I'm born and raised at, and the community that has given me so much. But also I get to represent parts of North Aurora and Batavia too.
Yes, because that's your district. A district doesn't just cover a city, it covers an area.
That is correct.
Correct.
Yes.
So you have a very large area. What I was going to ask you, for people that don't understand the Illinois legislative system, how many state reps are there and how many state senators?
Well, right now in Illinois, there's 118 state representatives and there's 59 senators. And that's pretty much what makes the General Assembly in the state of Illinois.
So you put in a House bill, because you're with the House of Representatives, for it to be signed to become law. Senators put in Senate bills.
Correct.
Correct.
Yes, and at some point, if the bills make it through the chamber, then it goes to the next chamber. So we will get to see both bills, or the bill pretty much in both chambers at some point, with the goal of having it pass the House and the Senate and land on the governor's desk for his signature and hopefully make it into law.
Now, before the program, I was told you that last week, Dino here, his vehicle got hit by an e-bike. They go very fast. The speed is incredible. This legislation breaks down the laws based on speed, correct?
That is correct. One of the things that we saw is that some of these vehicles are going up to 50 miles per hour in our roads, and they're not meant to be on sidewalks or in park trails. And we wanted to make sure that we put guardrails there to protect our communities, to protect the children that were unfortunately riding these vehicles, because many of them didn't know that this is a fast vehicle that they could get hurt or, unfortunately, as we've seen, get killed.
Yes, in Illinois, I'm aware of 3 fatalities involving e-bike riders, whatever you want to call these people. Now, let's go through the legislation real quick. You have the outline of it, So let's discuss it, because there's a breakdown on speeds and how many people can be in there and age limits, correct?
Right. So overall, the bill is SB 3484, and it started in the House with this bill. And I had the Senator Ron Villavalum, who sponsored the bill in the Senate to finish pretty much the job. So I'm very excited that we were able to get it through. But this bill, it does a few things. Like I said, it protects communities, establishes age requirements. Right now, as we see, there's a lot of younger kids riding these e-bikes, e-motos, scooters, and there's no age requirement. So and as we've seen, we can't expect a 10-year-old to know the rules of the road, and that's somewhat of the problem right now that we see, because they don't know what it means to stop. They don't know what it means to have a signal to turn left or right, and to make sure that they're respecting the road. So that's something that we were able to put some age requirements on this. Most riders have to be 16 and over to be able to ride it. Any vehicle that we have. Of course, there's going to be those that are fast speed vehicles that we are expecting you to be at least 18 and over with a driver license, with insurance, and a registration in the DMV.
Yes, there's a breakdown with speeds. You got class 1, 2, or 3, correct?
Yes, and the one that we have is we pretty much break it down under 20 miles per hour and then over 28 miles per hour.
Over 28, you said?
Yes, over 28 miles per hour. So those are the breakdowns that we currently have. If you're operating under 28 miles per hour, there's going to be set rules that you will have to follow, that you won't need a driver license, you won't need an insurance or registration, but after over 28 miles per hour, then you will.
There's also other vehicles in here in your proposed legislation: electric skateboards.
Yes.
And low-speed scooters. Correct?
Yes, correct. Yeah. So the low-speed scooters are already included in state law. That was done a couple years ago, but we wanted to make sure we included this, and we kind of just changed the mile per hour. Currently in state law is 10 miles per hour, but now we're changing it to 15, which we saw nationwide. That's the standard number that they were going by. But yes, we added other vehicles because, as we've seen across our roads, it's not only the e-bikes and the e-scooters. We're also seeing the mopeds, the electric unicycles, the skateboards, and other vehicles too.
According to some of the background here, some of these electric unicycles could go up to 60 miles an hour. Is that correct, or am I misreading?
No, that is correct. That is correct, and I'm sure you've seen it in the streets here and there. It's been a very unique experience to just watch it, especially if I go to Chicago.
Yes, the speed's incredible.
It is, yes.
How did you break? Oh, you got low-speed electric bicycles are class 1 or class 2, correct?
Yes, and that's where the rider needs to be 15. And currently, there's no age requirement for that, but we're putting it to be 15 years old.
Now, for class 3, it says requirement of 16 years or older, or up to 18, correct?
That is correct. And if you want to have a passenger, you would have to be 18, unless the passenger is a sibling, a step-sibling, a child, or a stepchild. So you have to be an immediate family member in order to have a guest on your vehicle.
Now, the class 3, they're the one that go over 28, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so it seems to be the breakdown here starts at 28 miles per hour. Mm-hmm. Class 3 is up to 28 miles per hour. Now, some of these, as we said, can go up to 60 miles an hour. Is there a classification on those?
Those are under the high-speed e-bikes and e-motos. Those are regulated by the electric bicycle with a motor over 750 watts and speed over 28 miles per hour. It usually, what we consider those are now e-motos, just like a motor-driven cycle. So that's the one that I was mentioning that needs title, registration, insurance. And especially, I think what we've seen right now, there's a lot of accidents that might not.
That's an accident.
that might not lead to death, but there might be an accident that relates to another car, vehicle, and you might need insurance. You might need to find a way to have that conversation with someone to resolve the situation. And currently, there's no way, there's no path. So that's what we saw, that we wanted to make sure that there is insurance, that if something does happen, you know how to communicate.
So it have to be insured, is that what you're saying?
Yes, after the 28 miles per hour, yes.
I did not know that. I didn't. It was
So
in
that's the class 3 level.
That is a class 3, yes.
So class 1 and class 2, are they required to have license plates of any kind?
No, not those.
So only the class 3, that's 28 miles per hour or greater.
Correct.
And is there like say an officer pulls somebody over to make an inquiry, is there some way that they're able to determine how fast that unit goes other than a radar unit?
I believe there is some protections in the bill itself that will help officers enforce. And I actually just got to see a sneak peek on the rules that the Secretary of State is putting up for, and there will be some type of small license plates that they will be able to get to. So there's a way to track them.
Because it's nice if they abide by the law, everybody's going to have a license plate, but those that have a vehicle that you're speaking of, the class 3, that could have the capabilities of going over 28 and didn't get the plate, thinking, oh, well, they'll think it's a low, mile per hour vehicle. That's what I'm saying. There has to be some way that they're going to be able to determine it. Because as Bill's a former county sheriff, how do you determine it? I could see that being a real, debacle on the street when you're trying to find out. Yeah.
Right. And I've already talked to a few officers in the area that they already know who's riding a e-bike, an e-moto. They're pretty much repeated offenders in the streets. So that's something that they know who exactly they're looking for and where they are.
Yeah, very interesting.
And making sure that they're abiding by the new law.
I'm glad they came out with the law. To be honest, as Bill explained to you, I got hit midship of the pickup truck, hit me, boom.
Right.
And they're trying to say it was me, And anybody knows pedestrian versus car, who's wrong?
Right.
So, yeah.
No, I'm sorry that happened.
It did work out in my favor, I will say. But go ahead, Bill, what?
But that story you told last week about that, he clipped your mirror, right?
Hit me right into my mirror, knocked my mirror off, bent the heck out of the front tire on his vehicle. And I felt bad for a kid. He was running late to school. So I didn't want to, they want to know, did you want to? No, I don't want to write no ticket or sign a complaint of any kind. And I didn't even claim the damage on my car. I just said, you know what, I'll fix it. He's got enough to fix with his bicycle or whatever you call these e-bikes. But yeah, it was clipping. Yeah. And then I guess what the police did is and I'm not going to tell you the town or place or anything, but the police did backtracking and checked the neighborhood with like the
ring bell
Thank
cameras.
You. The ring cameras, and they were able to determine, because he says, oh no, I was pedaling. He was really cruising too.
Wow. And
that's a shame. But nonetheless, he was still, young kid. I'm not going to go into high school. How are you going to mess a kid up like that? But they're getting out of hand when you get them in a pack. And that's what I think everybody's addressing.
Right.
And they ride down the middle of the street. They're on sidewalks. You're pushing a stroller, a baby. You're walking your dog. You spook because they'll come up right behind. You don't even hear these things. There's no sound to them.
No, I agree.
So it's a frightening thing. I'm glad that you introduced this bill.
Yeah, thank you.
It takes a lot of guts to do that, really. Yeah.
Well, I had a near miss as I'm backing out of the driveway, which the majority of people do. I looked, but the speed of this e-bike came so fast, and I didn't strike it, but I saw it in my mirror as I was backing up. And when I looked both ways, it wasn't there. Wow. He just came, and he had to make 2 blocks in a clip.
Wow, yeah.
Because, your vision is limited.
Right.
If somebody's walking or they're on a bicycle, they go much slower. But when you're backing out in a vehicle, and he was on the sidewalk, that's another thing. We're eliminating the use of sidewalks for e-bikes, right?
That is correct. Yes.
Perfect.
They won't be able to ride them in the sidewalks anymore.
Now, all 3 classes or just the high speed?
I believe the high speed, but I believe there might be some limitation also on the low speed, especially when it comes to the park trails. The park trails right now, there's high-speed vehicles going into them. So this is definitely going to put that restriction on the bike trails too.
Park districts, is that what you're talking about?
The park districts, trails, and so on.
Forest preserves.
Yes, forest preserves. They were all involved in this conversation and in the negotiation of the bill, and we're allowing them to get more discretion when it comes to enforcement, but also making sure that they have signs that people are aware of the changes.
So each park district and each forest preserve district can have their own separate rules, correct?
Well, additional to what exists in the state law, yes, they can. They can include more restrictions if they wish. However, right now, this is like the bill that we're hoping that it will be across state law. And from there, municipalities can decide if they want to make it stricter for them.
Doesn't every municipality has the right to enhance something
Correct.
so long as they meet the minimum of what the state law is, which you're introducing?
Right.
So if they're having their own problems locally, they come up with a city ordinance or what have you, and they write them on that.
Right.
I would think.
And one of the things that we wanted to change is that currently with the state law that exists right now with low-speed scooters, every municipality is doing their own ordinance. So if you go to Elgin but move to another town just 10 minutes away, then it's a different ordinance. They might ban it. They might be more flexible with it, but the individual might not know. And we just see that right now outside the door. Yeah, so that's exactly what we get to see. Like in Aurora, there's Montgomery, there's Oswego nearby, and just crossing that city line can mean a lot for that individual. However, the individual is not aware that that city, a municipality, has changed their ordinance.
Right.
Well, she was telling the story. An e-scooter just flew by the street right in front of our station here. They are so common, and there's more and more of them being manufactured and purchased.
Yes.
You know, and I've seen them in wintertime too. These are being ridden in inclement weather. So, I mean, they're almost a year-round way of transportation for a lot of people.
No, yeah, it's a modern way of transportation currently, which that's why we didn't want to punish people from trying to find ways to transport themselves to work, to school, or anything. We just wanted to make sure it's safer for everyone. That was our goal.
We have to reel in these reckless drivers.
In reading the bill, you've even made provisions for seniors and military as far as the pricing is concerned, which was considerate.
That is correct. Yeah, we pretty much are using the same structure as a regular vehicle with this. Yeah. So.
Originally, when it first came out, people were saying, oh, it's the state of Illinois just trying to grab some more money. They want to tax this, tax that, license. That's not what this is about. This is a safety issue that needs to be addressed. Correct. I can imagine the amount of injuries.
Oh, and we just see more. You see, they're riding in the sidewalk.
He's on the sidewalk.
Now, you know what?
All three of them on the
there's
sidewalk.
The three classes that they talk about. The class 1 was that little scooter that, you know, the old days.
Yes.
The class 2 was the one, the third one, and the middle one, that was the high-speed one. You could see it.
Yeah.
And the last one, when he was sitting with the helmet.
Yeah.
Yes, and they're not supposed to be on the sidewalk.
And they're on the sidewalk. They don't care. Someone can walk out of a storefront.
Yeah.
And then boom. Now what?
They're not stopping. They were just going very fast right now.
And it's not even a matter of who you're going to give a ticket to or whatever. You're hurting somebody.
Right.
You know, you get a senior walk out there, even a guy like me, I'm senior now. You walk out that door, poof, it could be all over. You break a hip, you break your, you know, get hit the wrong way. Those things are moving. They're over 28 miles an hour. Poof.
Some can go as fast as 60.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Did I hear you? I didn't hear you read that.
The unicycles are up
my
to
God.
60, yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's highway speed.
Well, yeah. I mean, what's the minimum speed on the highway? 45. So you imagine that? Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I'm glad you're doing this. Very good.
Thank
I bet you got a lot of grief from some people.
A few people, but at the end of the day, I think this was a very bipartisan bill that I was very happy to see. And we received both sides support, and we had over, I would say, 10 stakeholders involved in this too, to make this negotiation happen.
It's a safety issue. I just think people need to embrace it for what it is. It's got nothing to do with revenue. Because if you look, the first two classes, there's nothing involved.
Right.
All they want to do is the ones that can go at a higher rate of speed that could possibly cause injury, you know, that you want to make sure that we know who's on that bike, it's licensed properly, and the guy has some type of a license to operate a vehicle like that.
Right.
Now, you don't need a motorcycle license for the Class 3, right?
No.
Okay.
No. It would just be a driver license and registration.
So that's good.
Yes. So as our YouTubers can see us while we're talking here, there's half a dozen of these bikes that have been passing by us, and
Right.
that's just the 20 minutes we're here.
Right.
Every town's got this some type of resident that owns one of these, and he's going to use it every day.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen him in the rain. I've seen him in heavy rainstorms. The other day when we were in the heavy
Snow.
rain, I've seen the
him
guy
in the winter.
sipping.
Snow.
Yeah. And that's the danger again. We're talking safety factor. That thing has some good torque. You're talking electric scooter or bike, whatever you call it. What's a pedal assist only, maximum speed 20? Yeah. You're talking at level 3. I mean, that thing's got some heavy torque that's on that snow. It loses traction. Now you're in the roadway. A car could hit you. Now what?
Right.
Yeah, they need to understand the dangers here. So, yeah, this is great.
So what else do you have on that legislation?
So another thing that we have is also consumer protection. As we've seen, a lot of retail shops sometimes advertise that they're giving a family an e-bike that is not going to be fast, that is going to be appropriate for the age of the child. However, it is not. Many other times it is an e-moto because they look the same, but the speed is completely different. Under this bill, we made sure to have protections, consumer protection, which prohibits any retailer, distributor, or manufacturing from marketing, advertising, or labeling, or otherwise offering for sale of any motor-driven cycle that would cause a consumer to believe that it is a low-speed scooter or a low-speed bike.
Because people don't really know what they're buying.
Exactly. Yes. Unfortunately, that's the case. Some might do a lot of research, but many cases, they just want to buy this vehicle for the child without doing more research. And it turns out it could be faster than they thought.
Yes, and the speed's incredible. At least when we were watching these e-bikers pass by, at least the last guy had a helmet. There's no helmet requirement in your legislation.
No, we didn't put that in there. We had a few advocates in the Biker Association that has always been against the legislation on helmets. So we wanted to make sure we didn't include that.
But in Illinois, there's no helmet requirement for motorcyclists either. It's voluntary.
That is correct.
So anyways, we're going to talk more about that when we get back. We're here with Illinois State Representative Barbara Hernandez. She was the sponsor of a House bill that's waiting to be signed by Governor Pritzker regulating e-bikes in Illinois. So when we come back, Barbara, you're going to stay with us for the second half. Our phone lines are open. At, what's the number?
847-931-1410. Give us a phone call. Or you can text us 505-926-1410. And we will return. 50th District, Illinois State Representative Barbara Hernandez. She's got a lot more to talk about, folks, so stay tuned.
From the pages of the Elgin newspapers of 100 years ago today, these are the headlines brought...
Hey, we are back with Life Experiences with Bill Pelarenos. And today we got a real nice guest in here. It's the Illinois State Representative of the 50th District, and she is Barbara Hernandez. We've been talking about that new House bill that's going to take effect January the 1st, 2027. If you haven't heard, they're going to be changing things around for all these e-bikes. Lot happening. And she sponsored the bill. It's SB 3484 if you want to look it up after the show. But if you have a question, call in 847-931-1410. We'd love to hear from you. You could text it in to 505-926-1410. But I say, let's put her on the spot. Let's get some questions. She loves to answer questions. She's very candid. So go ahead. Back to you, Bill.
All right, Barbara, for those that didn't hear the first half, let's really give a quick synopsis. on these low speeds and high speed bikes and how the legislation's going to affect that real quickly.
Right. So like what we were talking about, SB 3484 is a bill that pretty much protects the community and makes sure that there's regulations on it, not only age restrictions, but also making sure that there is insurance involvement, driver license in certain cases, and making sure that they're also registered in the DMV. And with the whole goal of making sure that our community is protected, as we've seen, there's a lot of kids out there that are using these type of vehicles and are unfortunately getting injured and sometimes killed. So that's what we're trying to prevent with this bill.
So it's a safety responsibility bill. And also you mentioned there was some kind of an insurance requirement for the higher speed vehicles. And when we talk about the higher speed, it's the classes over 28 miles an hour, correct?
Correct. Yes. And that's something that we wanted to make sure we included because there are different types of vehicles out there. They might look all the same. However, there's different speeds. There's some that are lower speeds, under 20 miles per hour. And as we've seen, there's some over 28 miles per hour. And we wanted to make sure we protect people from those higher speed vehicles.
Yes, so there's an insurance responsibility, correct?
Correct.
Very good, very good. And the way it's going to go is multiple people cannot be on these e-bikes, correct?
That is correct. Yes, unless there is a sibling involved, then you're able to have a passenger with you. And as long as the vehicle's also able to have a passenger. So we don't want to make sure that people are alternating the vehicles in any way, adding a stool or anything on them. We've seen a lot of creative things. So we don't want that to happen. So that's one of the things that we put in the bill.
Can I ask you, though, why is the difference because it's a family member?
I think a lot of people overall, when we were talking to stakeholders, that was one of the things that people wanted to know, especially if they have, let's say it's an 18, 16-year-old are riding to school and they have to pick up a sibling from school.
That makes
then
sense. I got
they
you.
want to make sure they have that.
It just seemed like a funny,
Right.
special little
Yes.
provision in there, but it makes sense now, yeah.
Right.
Could you imagine, Bill, putting together a House bill and because I started reading through everything in here, and I know you researched it as well. You have every T's got to be crossed, every I's got to be dotted, because if you have this license, well, it affects that one. And just like you said, you had the Disabilities Act in there, the veterans. I mean, you got so many different things to look at when you're licensing for something like this. It's really intricate.
Well, we'll talk about drafting legislation in a second. But the other question I wanted to ask you, the exemption to this law is for the disabled people that ride those e-mobility, I don't want to call them scooters, but
the vehicles, yes.
Yeah.
No, yes, that's something that we wanted to make sure we included and we made it clear so there was no confusion on the law. This does exempt individuals with disabilities that can use an electric mobility device or bike to make sure that they can still use it without any trouble with the law.
And these are the ones you've seen at Costco and Jewel. They ride around with the shopping cart in front. But you can I own one personally. So, and I believe the Veterans Administration has also given some out to people that have leg injuries or difficulty walking. So it's important for the handicapped, especially now with, especially Illinois, we're getting a lot of older residents and with injuries and ongoing leg problems. So I'm glad you threw that in there.
No, thank you.
Now, getting back to Dino's suggestion, or kind of he touched on it, when you draft legislation or writing it up, it's not easy to start. Luckily, you've had 15 years experience. But do you got a team working on this, or how does that happen?
I will say I will give credit to the Secretary of State's office. They did an amazing job. They have a great team. They had a policy person. They had their lawyers. We had the House also has their LRB that drafts the bills for everyone. They did all a great job. We started with an idea and we had to amend it several times because we had so many people involved in this negotiation. We had over 10 stakeholders at the table, making sure that we covered every single base of this bill and that we targeted every little problem that we saw. And luckily, we got to this point where we were able to have a final draft of the bill And honestly, I got past that last day of session at 2 a.m. So that was the biggest stress for me, making sure we made it to passing this bill at the late hour.
Were they trying to put it off, do you think, or?
There was a few obstacles that we had,
I bet you
unfortunately.
did, yeah.
Yes, but we were luckily able to get it through by 2 a.m. and the Senate was able to call it in as soon as possible too.
Like a bipartisan type
It was
of a
bipartisan,
vote?
yes.
So it worked out well
Yes,
that way.
it
Good.
did.
So it wasn't a politics party nonsense.
No, it was
Good.
not. Yeah.
In Illinois, that's not unusual. Incidents like that have occurred in the past also.
Right. No, it happens all the time. It's honestly, it's a normal thing in our job because there's policies out there that maybe one person is gonna try and put a brick on it, and we just have to overcome that obstacle. And luckily, we did. It was very stressful at that time, but now looking back at it, I'm glad that we were able to get it through. And I learned a lot from the process too. I feel like even though I've been in the General Assembly for the last 7 years, I always learn something new, which is always great.
Yeah, it's very good. During the break, I was asking you if you get input from local police departments because your district covers 3, Aurora, North Aurora, and Batavia, correct?
Correct.
So each police department has some issues that they're seeing as ongoing. Like in Illinois, we had this e-bike situation that had to be addressed. But local police departments suggest ideas for you for laws?
They do. They usually, especially the Aurora Police Department, is one of the biggest ones in my district. So they reach out once in a while with ideas, with concerns of existing bills that maybe I don't have it, but someone else in my colleagues might have a bill. But something that I know I worked on in the past, and I know we talked about this a little offline, is that drone bill. I was able to sponsor a drone bill a couple of years ago with the understanding of what happened with Highland Park after the 4th of July. Police officers in that time in Illinois couldn't use drones to survey during parades, festivals, or any city function. And it was a whole obstacle that we were trying to figure out. A couple of years ago, we were able to pass it in the state of Illinois, and I was the chief sponsor of that bill to make sure that now officers can use it for that specific reason, for parades, for municipality festivals that they have, or state can also use it for state festivities that they have and host. But we also made sure to put protections on privacy. That was something that a lot of people were concerned. They were concerned that maybe if they were having a barbecue in a house, that an officer would actually come over and have a drone in their yard. So that's something that we were able to make sure that we made it clear that that's not allowed. It's only allowed for festivities, for missing persons, for parades, and just to make sure that everybody's safe, especially with what happened in the parade in Highland Park.
So the drone bill is in effect?
It is in effect, yes.
Because I had heard that some police departments were using drones in like large parking lots of shopping centers as calls for service or crimes occurring. They send out the drone first so they can locate exactly, because you walk into one of these, let's say Gurney Mills, it's huge. You have to know, they'll say I'm in the parking lot, but where in the parking lot are you?
Right.
So to locate the victim, to locate the crime scene,
Exactly.
they're in effect right now. And I heard about the shopping centers sorry. Hang on. It's driving me crazy. So that's the problem with cell phones, folks. Okay, so with that being said, yes, the drones are in effect right now. So as we're going through this, it's good that you work with local police departments. Who suggested that to you, Aurora?
It was Aurora who started it, and then Senator Linda Holmes was the one that led it in the Senate and then passed it on to me in the House.
Now, does the Senate and the House have to work in sync on these bills?
For the most part, yes. We might not work super close together, but once it's passed in the Senate or in the House and the other person receives it, we have to make sure that we finish the job as much as possible. So for me at that time, it was making sure that I passed that drone bill, and exactly like today with the e-bike bill, making sure that I finished that job in the House side.
That's very good. That's very good. So with this drone bill, is there an end date to it, or once it takes effect, there's no sundown?
There's no sundown at all. We want to make sure that was permanent. We want to make sure we have everyone's safety in consideration.
I asked that because I know some bills have sundowns.
Right,
on them.
yes. Yeah, but no, not this one. We wanted to make sure that this is current state law until if there's anything else that we need to change later on, then we can make those changes. But right now, it is what it is.
That's very good. That's very good. And the other question I wanted to ask, when you're getting these suggestions from these police departments, you still have to go by the same procedure where you send it into a group committee with lawyers and stuff like that and say, hey, this was the suggestion, correct?
Correct. Yes. It's a long process, honestly, because they might give me a small paragraph of what to fix or what they want to change in the state law. Then we send it in to our lawyers who will put it in a law form and with existing law to see where exactly it belongs in. And from there, we can start drafting the process and making sure we go through the committee, present it with the committee itself, getting the votes, make sure I do my roll call before it hits the House floor to make sure I get my 60 Democrats involved and making sure that I just don't have any issues with passing that bill before I can send it back to the Senate.
But that's a tail end. That's after the bill's already written, correct?
That is correct, yes.
But just to get the bill written, it has to go through attorneys and
They do.
legislators?
Yes, they do. And at the same time, it might be several drafts. It might not be the first draft that we see that will be perfect. So that's another thing that we also need to consider. It gets amended every single time. So there's always lawyers involved in this conversation and making sure that they see and they put in what we want them to adjust. And it makes sense to the law because we don't want to put something that lawyers or anyone else won't understand either.
Very good, very good. You got any questions, Zeno?
No, I think this is great. I think it's absolutely wonderful what you got going on. Yeah, the drone bill, I didn't know what that was. Now, obviously, state of Illinois, they still have to follow all of the federal guidelines because there's certain areas that even the police can't put their drone up because of federal restrictions. Is that correct? Or
That
do
is
they get
correct.
special pass to do that?
To my knowledge, I don't think they do. They have to abide by all federal guidelines and go through all the training too. And that could be expensive for a police department.
It sure could
So
be.
there's not everyone in the police department is specialized to fly a drone. So there's maybe one or two sometimes in their department.
Oh, I want to make that clarification. I'm glad you brought that up. The drone bill is for government drones, for the police departments,
That's where I was going, exactly.
county, state. It's not. We're not talking about private citizens'
That is
drone
correct.
bill.
Right. That is correct. To my knowledge, I believe there's still restrictions on private citizens' drones, on what they can and can't do and how high they can fly it and what they can record. But when it comes to the federal, with the state government police departments, there's the existing law that exists that people have to protect and making sure that they follow those guidelines.
You know, drones can be dangerous too. I was reading a couple of weeks ago, and I can't remember what city it was, and I posted it on my Twitter. A plane coming in for a landing struck a drone that was flying in its path.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that can cause serious damage to the aircraft and danger to the crew and passengers.
Yes.
Look at what
Yes.
bird strikes do.
Yeah, exactly. So that's something that we were able to just establish. And I'm just very happy that we were able to get that through, not only for security and privacy settings also, but it allows families to hopefully feel a little bit more comfortable when they're going to public spaces.
Yes, thank you. You know, these drones that the police departments are using, they send, I heard this, but I got to verify, they send the images right to the responding squad cars if it's connected. Mm-hmm. So a responding squad car, say, to a crime scene in a shopping center, can see what the drone is flying over.
Right. Yes, and honestly, that is a good point because a lot of people were also concerned about the recordings. What happens to the recordings? So we did put a time restriction that a police department can only have it for a certain amount of time before they have to erase it. And they shouldn't have any facial recognition systems or software in the cameras either. So that's something that we were able to do, and also no weapons or anything on those drones.
Yes. With the body-worn cameras, when the legislation came in, I don't know if it's changed, but the typical end date for those cameras to be erased was 90 days.
That is correct. I think for us, it might be less than that. It's been a few years now that I've reviewed that bill, but I think it is less than that. Unless there is something that happened and they need more time to review it, then they can keep it to up to 30, 60 days.
Well, it's archived, and sometimes it's subpoenable, and it's used for court purposes because let's face it, when the drones for the police department are going over, it's probably a crime scene.
Right.
So just like body-worn camera, crime scene has to be saved.
Right.
You know, if you ever watch 2020 or Dateline, they'll show you crime scenes from 15 years ago.
Exactly.
You know,
Yes.
and of course, with the technology today, it's easy to edit out certain portions. But cameras are important because they give you a certain perspective of what is occurring or what has occurred. So I'm a firm believer, you know, and the way Illinois is now, anything outside, you know, anybody can walk by right now and just start taping us. You know, that's how it is because we're in public view.
Right.
But the privacy comes in when you shut the curtains down or when you're in a bathroom facility, they can't record.
Exactly. Yes.
And that's very important. People got to know the distinction.
They do. They do. There's places that you can record, and there's others that you have to make sure you have people's authority and permission. So we always have to be careful with recording.
Yes, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned it. I was at the flea market in Rosemont. Have you ever been there?
I have, yes.
Yeah. And one guy hit on his table. Now, he's out in the open. No pictures, no video. You're out in the open, man. You know, you're bringing yourself into a general viewable area. It's public.
Right.
So, I mean, if you wanted to, I told guy, get a curtain. But then what are you going to sell?
Right.
You know, he didn't want photographs of his whatever it was, baseball cards or whatever it was taken.
Isn't that the law? If it's out in the open, the presumption of privacy, there's nothing there. You could do it. Now, you can't be like a voyeur and be taking pictures on the city streets and the person's got their door open and you zoom into that house. That's a violation the way I remember it. So I don't know if that's still the way it is. Like in those cameras that they have throughout the communities, whether they're put up by the municipalities, I'm assuming. Now, do those need special permit?
I believe everything pretty much needs special permits and making sure there's regulations on them. I think we've done a few bills in the past when it comes to that, but I haven't really kept up with all of that.
Most of them have been in place for many, many years.
Yes,
That's why I was
they
just
have.
curious. So,
Sometimes before
yeah.
my time.
oh yeah. Well, you got a lot of time here. You've got the 8 years prior, and then you're in your second term. So you're on 7, getting ready to complete 8. That's a long time,
Yes.
man.
It's been
Yeah,
a
but she's
lot.
got the experience. She was working.
So
it up.
100%. She's got double the time, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's good. I'm glad you're getting suggestions from. You're open to police, a fire department too. I'm sure they suggest laws for fire safety.
They do, yes. There's a big FFI. It's a great association of fire departments and firefighters, and they advocate a lot. And I'm very local, close to my local 99 firefighters in Aurora too. So.
And I going back to the drone, I have seen fire departments using drones over large buildings to see where the fire is emitting from.
Right.
So I mean, in an emergency situation, you have to use it. It's an added feature to assist you in your resolution of the problem.
Right.
You know, and you can't let the buildings burn. You know, because they'll just go down the block. The fire can escalate. That we saw in California.
Yeah.
Homes, hundreds, thousands of homes kept burning.
Yes.
You know, but the fire department has always had some good suggestions, and sometimes it takes time for like with the Narcan, it took a lot of time for that to come into use with police and fire departments. But now, from what I understand, they even have vending machines in police departments where they give Narcan.
They
right?
do. They do. And I think now in schools too, if I remember correctly, there might be in some colleges that they have Narcan available for free.
I've taken classes when the proper administration of Narcan. Now, Narcan has changed. Now it's almost like an inhaler. Mm-hmm. And you know what else has changed? It's an inhaler too. When you have allergies, the ephedrine, They call
The
Epi
EpiPen?
stick? Yeah, EpiPens.
the EpiPen.
Yes,
Yeah.
now it's an
Oh,
inhaler.
I didn't know that.
Yes, my daughter has a nut allergy, which
Okay.
has killed people.
Yes.
You know, they've inadvertently eaten nuts and they're not supposed to, and they've died as a result. So the EpiPen, I had watched the video. I had to go right into her thigh, hold it there in case that happens.
Right.
But now she showed it to me. She got it from the drugstore. It's an inhaler.
Oh, wow.
It makes it much easier,
Yeah.
much easier. But when my daughter first got it, it had to be about 15 years ago. They give you a video with it, you know. And back then
You
it
have
was
to do
the
it, yes.
DVDs, and I had to
Right.
watch the movie because stuff happens, you know. And you've seen many videos where people are choking on food. You know, luckily some people know the Heimlich maneuver, you know,
Right.
but there has to be more training. But the Narcan, I'm a big fan of. That should have came decades ago. But it took technology. Technology runs faster than the law.
That is, yes, that is true. Unfortunately, that is the case, and that's why we did this bill. We saw technology is moving very quick and is adjusting, changing to many different types of vehicles that we haven't even seen yet, probably. But we wanted to make sure we target the ones that we currently have here and catch up.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for sponsoring this bill. Now, we're waiting, as of now, we're into July 2026, but sometime between now and the end of the year, the governor is scheduled to sign it, correct?
That is correct. Yes.
And it should take effect on January 1st,
of 2027.
27.
Yes.
Yes, I noticed with a lot of bills, the majority of them always take place on January 1st or July 1st is when new laws kick in.
That is correct.
Why the
yes.
July 1st?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I should probably take a look at that.
Because of the sessions? Because of how the sessions fall in and the introduction?
It might be because of the fiscal start of the year. We start usually July 1st for our fiscal year.
Oh, that you do have a fiscal year in
We
the state
do.
of Illinois. Okay,
do.
and that's why.
So
Yeah,
it might
most
be that.
organizations, Knights of Columbus, have fiscal years, and ours starts in July as well.
Yeah.
So it's like a half-year thing. I don't know why they do that. It causes more, accounting headaches. But yeah, but it's always good to start it clean. You start either at the top of the year or you start it halfway through the year. That could be
Right.
the other reason too. But July 1st is, your 7th month. 6 is under the belt.
Now, you got a great website. Let's go to it. What is it?
It's
Your
a long
website.
one. It's the State Representative Barbara Hernandez .com.
Say it again.
It's
It's State Representative Barbara Hernandez.com.
State Representative BarbaraHernandez.com.
Yes.
Yes, I noticed on there that constituents can contact you and give information or questions or comments.
Yes. Constituents can call us anytime, but they can also go to our website on our contact form, fill out the contact form, and we will reach out to them as soon as possible and see how we can help or hear their thoughts and advice too.
Ms. Hernandez, we'd like to very much thank you for being here today. Very enlightening. I'm glad that we have you representing us over at the state. Great job. And Bill, that wraps us up here. We're done in about 8 more seconds. So thank you for joining Life Experiences with Bill Pelarenos. And we had today Barbara Hernandez, Illinois State Representative. We'll see you next week.
The weather is getting better.